Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping right into a topic that can honestly mean the difference between your business surviving and, well, not. We're talking about mastering incident response, and we're going to break down exactly how you can build a capability that's tough enough to handle whatever comes your way.
And look, the stakes here could not be higher. Getting incident response wrong, it's not just some technical glitch. No way. It is a direct threat to your entire organization. We're talking about your brand getting tainted, losing customer and shareholder trust, and this cascading chaos that just ripples through your whole company. Every single second you lose just makes things worse.
So this all leads to a really crucial choice, doesn't it? Is your organization going to be reactive, caught in all that chaos and surprise? Or are you going to be proactive, operating from a position of readiness and, real control? That's the question we're digging into today.
Okay, so let's dive into this first, and honestly most critical phase, what you absolutely have to do before an incident ever strikes. Because really this is where the battle is won or lost. What you do now determines everything. And the best way to think about this is with a pretty simple metaphor. You don't buy supplies during the hurricane, right? You build your defenses when the skies are clear. Preparation is everything. The real work happens now when you have time to think, not in the middle of a storm when you're just trying to survive.
Now, what you're seeing here, this is the absolute non-negotiable core of any solid IR plan. Think about it. Defining roles, it's what stops everyone from just freezing up when a crisis hits. Identifying critical systems, that's about protecting what really matters. And the procedures, the forensics, the communication plan, that's your roadmap. That's what turns panicked chaos into a controlled, effective response.
But listen, a plan that just sits on a shelf is useless, right? To make it real, you've got to bring it to life. And that means you have to test it, run drills, find the gaps before the bad guys do. Centralize your tools so your team isn't digging through a dozen different systems under pressure. And then you've got playbooks, breaking down silos, automating the simple stuff. All of this is designed to do one thing: free up your people to focus on the actual problem.
All right, so all that prep work is done. Now what happens when the alarm actually goes off? Let's move into the moment of crisis. This is all about executing a calm, coordinated response while you are in the thick of it. See, when an attack is active, there is just no room for error. Unprepared companies, they waste so much precious time just calling meetings and trying to figure out who's in charge. But your organization, it's going to be different because you've prepared. You'll be executing a plan, not scrambling to make one.
And this is how you do it. You systematize your team with this brilliant three-tiered structure. You've got your command staff, who are overseeing the whole thing. You have your subject matter experts, the technical wizards, doing the hands-on work. And then, and this part is absolutely crucial, you have liaison officers. Their job is to manage all the communication, basically acting as a shield so the technical team can actually focus on fixing the problem.
So the key point here is that communication has to be managed just as carefully as the technical response itself. This is how you maintain trust and control the narrative. We're talking timely updates, a single designated liaison, and being totally transparent. Avoid cover-ups at all costs. They often cause more damage than the incident. And please, don't speculate. Just stick to what you know for sure. Okay, so the incident is over. The immediate danger has passed. But the work isn't done. Not even close. In fact, this is where you turn a crisis into a catalyst for getting so much stronger.
A lot of organizations fall into a trap right here. The first question that pops into everyone's head is often, okay, so who's to blame for this? It's a natural instinct, but it's a dangerous one. But the most resilient organizations, they do something different. They adopt a perspective of blamelessness. This means they focus on the what, not the who. What were the causal factors? What in our system allowed this to happen? It's all about encouraging transparency and real learning, so you don't just repeat the same mistakes over and over. So your post-incident review needs to be all about the response process itself. You ask questions like, how effective were our prevention actions? Really? Where were the bottlenecks? How can we reduce downtime and cost next time? And you do all of this from that blameless point of view, digging for those systemic issues, like poor communication or flawed processes, that really contributed to the problem.
So what's the most important takeaway from all of this for you and your organization? Let's boil it all down.
Well, it really boils down to these 4 key actions, and they all work together. You document your plan, you test your plan so it doesn't just gather dust, you're transparent when something happens to keep that trust, and then you learn the lessons from it. See, each step feeds the next. And this is what separates the prepared organizations from the ones who get paralyzed.
Ultimately, this all leaves us with one final, critical question to consider for your own organization. Your next incident. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So the real question is, are you ready?